Hello again, time for another daily devotional drop. And today's word out of the New Living Translation is from Luke chapter 6, verse 37. And I just want to remind you, the majority of these daily devotional drops, the short ones that I do, I'm just taking the verse of the day from YouVersion. If you have not checked out YouVersion, if you have a phone that has internet on it, go to your app store and type in YouVersion, YOUVERSION. It is amazing. It's a Bible app. There's so much available on there. It's fantastic. And I get a verse every single day. Some of you have noticed I've been posting a verse for a long time. They have verses you can post with their pictures, some amazing pictures. They're all cool and done really well. Or I try to post them with personal pictures that I've taken now. It's a little more work for me, but I really like that personal touch. So anyhow, check out YouVersion. This is going to be simple today, and it's not a simple topic. I'm talking about judging. Okay, now I'm not talking about it as much as Jesus is talking about it. So as I get ready to get into this, I always like to ask you to type in where you're watching from, whether it's live or you're watching a recording. It's just nice to have those comments in there and to see where people are watching from. So if you could do that, that would be wonderful. Again, Luke chapter 6, verse 37, it says, "Do not judge others, and you will not be judged." Now this is Jesus talking, okay? Do not judge others, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn others, or it will all come back against you. Forgive others, and you will be forgiven. In other words, and this is worded a little different in some other places, but he's basically saying whatever you do unto others, that same measure is going to be used back for you. That's a powerful statement. And how does that fit with the golden rule that says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you? So it's really amazing how the laws, the spiritual laws that are in place, you can count on as much as the physical laws that are in place. Just as much as you can count on the fact that if you trip, gravity is going to slam you down to the ground. You can count on it. If you try to jump really high, you're just going to come back down. It doesn't matter how high you do jump, you're still going to come back down. Those are the physical laws. Well, the spiritual laws basically can be mostly summed up by the term sowing and reaping. Whatever you sow, you're also going to reap. Whatever you plant, that's what's going to grow. So if you're planting judgment toward others, you're planting, what did it say, condemnation toward others, or you're planting forgiveness, those are the things that are going to grow back for you in your life. It's an amazing principle. And I had an interesting conversation today, talked about Jesus with a man at the Philly cheesesteak place for a half hour, maybe more. It was a while. He was the owner of the place. Great man and good Christian man. Got into a great conversation. But he said something interesting to me that, you know, we were talking about the church and how a lot of people have been in the church a long time. He just said, you know, I just felt so judged. When I first started going to church, I just felt so judged. Like they just judged me. People in church are way too judgmental. I said, well, you can't pin that on everyone, number one, because you can't. We have to be careful of blanket statements that we make. So you can't pin that on everyone in the church, nor can you pin that necessarily on every church. Now, granted, if that's happened to you at church, I'm not minimizing that. But as our conversation went on, then there were actually verbal judgments that he was placing on people in the church. Now, our conversations didn't start with his feelings about people in the church judging, but that's where it went pretty quickly. So he was worried about being judged in church. But then his statements came right back, and I don't want to say exactly what they were because I don't want to give this guy away. I mean, he's a good man. But it kind of shows how easy it is to get on the wrong side of this. So even though he was feeling judged and felt like we can't do that to people, the church should be better than that. And then shortly after that, he was actually passing judgment on other people within the church. So I told him about it. I called him on it. And like most of the time we do, we explain it away. Well, it's not gossip if I'm doing it. It's gossip if they're doing it. It's not judgment if I'm doing it. It's judgment if they're doing it. Can I just tell you, I fall into this trap too. Judgment is one of the easiest traps to fall into. So don't ever get to the place where you think, well, I never judge anybody. Because if you have to say it, you're probably defending it. And if you're not judging people, then you don't have to defend it. In fact, Jesus doesn't leave it at don't defend or don't judge others and don't condemn others. He says, forgive others. That's the positive of this. So instead of holding things against, because if we're judging somebody, we're holding something against them. So allowing them to be themselves sometimes takes an act of forgiveness on our part because of some stuff that's in our mind, whether it's from the way we grew up, something that we learned somewhere along the way, but there's something in our mind that causes us to feel a certain way about people. And that's where forgiveness is so powerful. If you can just practice the art of humility and forgiveness, it is such a powerful tool. So I'm going to leave you with that today. God bless you. I hope you have an amazing day practicing forgiveness and practicing humility. And if you need some more direction on this, I gave a little bit in my teaching just a couple days ago on Jesus, the greatest teacher ever. So go back and watch that, and feel free to share these videos with anyone that you like. But if you can tell me where you're watching from, then that adds to the conversation. And the way Facebook works, the more conversation there is, the more likes there are, the more wows there are, or whatever, the thumbs up, the more people see it in their newsfeed. So if you want people to see the Word of God and to have access to it, then do that as much as you can in these videos. Go back to some of the other videos, like them, watch them. Some of them are really short, some are a little bit longer. But I hope you enjoyed this today. So God bless you and have fun forgiving others.